Hi, my name is Jack Bolton, and I'm here to discuss our group code of conduct. Welcome to my home. Okay, to get started, we've been asked here by the management team to address several problems they've been having, and we want to work as a team cohesively to find solutions for these problems. So, to get started, these are the rules in our code of conduct that everyone will adhere to during our time meeting as a group. Okay, number one, you want to come on time for the meetings and be prepared to take an active role. Whether you have a comment or question, or you have something, an idea, something to put forth, whatever that is, you're going to be expected to take an active role. Our dress will be semi-formal business attire, so you want to be obviously dressed as a professional. Next, when you arrive, open up your notebook and take your pen out and jot down several ideas that you may have had since the last time we got together. And then at some point during the group meeting, be prepared to share those with the group. Okay? Another thing is, be prepared to stay as long as it takes for each of our group meetings. We're loosely going to be meeting for 2 hours. We may occasionally have to stay a little later, depending on what our need is. So just be prepared to have that happen and be flexible. Be a team player. Okay, next, what you're going to be looking for is a couple of key opportunities during our group meeting to express your ideas in context of the group team. Maybe it's a comment, maybe it's a question, maybe it's to put forth an idea, or maybe to give your differences with someone on a particular point, and point out maybe some fallacies in their argument. But you're going to do so respectfully, but whatever it is, you want a couple of key opportunities. You don't want to be dominating the conversation all the time, nor do you want to be sitting back and, not saying anything. So everybody's going to be expected to participate. Everybody's going to participate at least twice during every group meeting. And when you speak clearly, articulately, and in a volume that everyone can hear. Keep the pace of your speech in mind and take your audience with you. Don't speak too quickly and don't speak too slowly. Watch your intonation, don't speak in a monotone, try to be interesting. And don't shout and don't whisper. Don't gesture wildly. If you must use jargon or an abstraction or special vocabulary of some kind, make sure that you take the time to explain what you mean and give examples for the group so that everyone is taken with you, so they understand what your points are and what you mean. Be as clear when you speak and as concrete as possible. Relate your statement to the preceding statement that was made, and make only one point at a time. You might have several points you want to make, but just do so one at a time. Finish with that point. See if there are any questions, and then move on. State your opinion directly and concisely in the shortest amount of time, very succinctly. Give specific details and examples of what you mean. Qualify and quantify your points as needed to make sure everyone is on the same page and understands what you mean. And be prepared to answer clarifying questions. If someone wants to know about the point that you made, wants a little clarification, you're ready and willing to give that. Keep your speech as succinct as possible. All right, now avoid trigger words or trigger words that evoke in people an emotional reaction of some kind. What you want to do is avoid those words and look for words that are synonyms that are neutral, that won't evoke those kind of emotions in people. Try to avoid that because that can be distracting. I have to say, I'm going to say it more than once, but disrespect toward any person in this group will not be tolerated. And no name calling is going to be allowed, no ad hominem attacks, attacking the person. If you want to feel it necessary to take issue with someone on something, some point they've made, do so in a respectful manner and just considering the points themselves and not the person. Don't use slang, and make sure that your sentence structure and your grammar is correct to the best of your ability, because we're going to be videotaping these group meetings. Management wants to look in on us once in a while. None of us are going to know which ones they may look in on, so you want to keep professional demeanor at all times, and so don't use slang. If you have to use language and terminology, as I said, explain what you mean. But then again, as we proceed and we go further along, we're going to come up with things that are going to be group terminology that we have agreed upon for certain ideas. And so use those words. Don't continually try to reinvent new words all the time. Let's follow what the group has agreed upon. When you are listening, make sure you're sitting erect and you're paying attention. If you have to, if you need to, take notes. But we want you to lean forward a little bit, sit erect, pay close attention to what the speaker's saying, make eye contact, but don't stare or gaze or scowl. you want to make eye contact, but you don't want to stare the person down. Okay, engage in these active listening skills. One, use supportive back channel. What does that mean? Well, that simply means, as they're speaking, oh, very good. Oh, I see. Something like that. Nod your head. If you need to, ask clarifying questions. Don't assume that you understand what the person means. Ask if you're not sure. Fix your face. You have to be aware we're engaging in nonverbal communication all the time. So avoid, what's known as leakage. What you say, it's you're respecting the person, but your face might be, you may be making a corkscrew face and, telling the person, I think you're full of beans, So you want to fix your face, make sure that you're aware of what your nonverbal communication is, and be respectful. Watch your posture, don't slouch, when people are talking. You want to sit up, be comfortable, but sit up and sit forward a little bit. Look at the speaker, listen to them. Don't stare them down, but definitely pay attention. Avoid these following habits that all poor listeners have. One would be pseudo listening. You're pretending like you're listening, but really you're thinking about going out to the party later, or meeting your friend, or having dinner, with your spouse. Or maybe you're just thinking about what you're going to say when they're done, what they're doing. Pay attention. Give them respect. That's what you want when you're speaking. You want people to give your ideas attention and consideration. So do the same. Another thing is silent arguing while the person is speaking and hasn't even really made their point yet. You're already figuring how you disagree with what they're saying, and they're not even done yet. So don't do that. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help us to build consensus, and it doesn't help us to come together as a group and build cohesion. And also, we want to give equal consideration to every idea, and we don't want to let some idea go slip by because somebody didn't get the chance to express an idea. So it doesn't help us. So don't do it. Another one is to assume meaning. Maybe the person's using a term maybe in a little bit different way than you've used it before, but I know what that means. No, don't do that. If you're not really sure what they're saying, ask a clarifying question. They'll be happy to answer you. Next would be the focus on irrelevancies. Sometimes we allow ourselves, when other people are speaking, to be distracted, maybe by their speech, the way they speak, or maybe an accent, or maybe it's their clothes. Maybe it just doesn't match the way we think it should. Don't focus on those things. We're here as professionals. We're here to consider ideas, and that's really the only reason we're here, to come up with ideas and solutions for problems that we've been given. So everybody's going to be dressed formally in business attire, so that's not going to be an issue, so just don't do that. Sidetracking is another habit of poor listeners, and that would be changing the topic after the person finishes, then you get up or you say something, and now you're changing the topic because you weren't really paying attention to what the person was saying while they were speaking. And so don't do that. It doesn't help. We want to move ahead and give equal consideration to every idea. And so we just don't want to just, bypass people's ideas. We may miss a gem that may lead us to some great solutions. So just don't do that. And then the last one that I will talk about is defensive responding. And that is demonstrating by our remarks or by our attitude or our behavior that you feel psychologically threatened by something that the speaker, at some personal level, by something the speaker may have said. Don't do that. We're all here as professionals to work on solutions for specific problems. And so there's nothing personal about any of this. People are putting forth ideas, and so don't get sidetracked by any of these things. Okay, lastly, I'm going to share with you now the last 7 things that everybody will be expected to engage in these supportive behaviors. These are supportive behaviors. Okay, number 1, we want to all desire to understand the other members' points of view. Okay, so we're going to pay close attention to what they're saying, and we're going to ask clarifying questions if we need to, so that we make sure we understand. Number 2 is that we're going to be problem-oriented. That is, we're going to remain focused on the problems and come up with ideas and solutions for those problems. Okay, what ideas do you have about how we can solve these problems? That's why we're here. Number 3, spontaneity. React honestly, openly, and freely with respect. You might say something like, I really like that idea. And here's something else we could do. 4, group empathy and sensitivity to one another. Okay, if you see somebody and they're sitting there and they're fidgeting and they seem uncomfortable about something, you might want to stop and ask, if there's something that the group could do. Maybe we need to take a few minute break so they can, visit the restroom. Maybe we need to open a window or whatever. Maybe they're too warm. Let's be sensitive to one another, okay? Because that's why we're here. We're here to build cohesion and work as a group and to get to know one another and work together. So let's do that. Equality, number 5. Everybody that's here has been invited here by the management team, and they've been invited because of some expertise they have, or they've shown themselves capable of coming up with some great ideas in the past. So they're here because the management wants them to participate. So we're all professionals. We may not choose to go out with one another socially, but that's not why we're here. We're here to work as a team of professionals to work on solutions for the problems we've been presented, and come up with the best possible solutions that we can. Okay. Then the second to last, number 6, is to be tentative with your comments. Okay. Don't be so sure that your idea is the best thing to come down the pike. That is the definitive. This is the definitive idea on this subject, on this topic. It may be, maybe it isn't. Maybe we'll agree with you that it's a great idea, or maybe we won't. But we're going to give everybody a chance to speak and participate and give input, and we're going to give each idea equal consideration. And so maybe your idea will prove to be the definitive idea, but maybe it won't. So just be prepared, and so be a little bit tentative. Okay, the last one, and my last point for this talk, is to demonstrate respect for every member of the group. Okay? Personal attacks will not be tolerated. We're here to work on solutions for problems that we've been given. We want to find the absolute best solutions that we can. So don't do it. If you do, you're going to be asked to leave the group, and it will have ramifications, and may end up in, you're being reprimanded, or you may lose your job. So these are things to think about. Just don't do that. We're not here for that. We're here to come up with solutions to the problems we've given, and the best ones we can come up with. So thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to meeting with all of you during our time as a group, working with you. Thank you for sharing this time with me in my home.